Hi Robert, my name is Andy.
Hi, nice to meet you, Andy.
Yeah, nice to meet you. Good to have you here today for the talk about type safety in React, or full stack type safety. Maybe tell us a little bit about you, who you are, what do you do?
Yeah, I'm Robert Zhu. I'm a technical evangelist for Amazon Web Services. I've been there for about a year. Prior to joining AWS, I was a software engineer working on GraphQL and Facebook. Prior to that, I was a software engineer at Microsoft, worked on the .NET framework, Windows Server, Active Directory, and a bunch of other things. So, seen a couple of different tech stacks, and AWS is the one that kind of really resonated with me. So here I am.
So that's the reason you moved to AWS, or they grabbed you?
Oh yeah. So one of the questions I left out in the middle was, one of the companies I left out in the middle was, I spent a couple of years at a fintech company in Boston when I first moved out there, and I helped them make their leap into the cloud from on-premise. And of course, when we did that, AWS was a big part of that decision. And what we had to do to get the company and the product successfully running in the cloud was a set of very interesting challenges, and I really wanted more of that. So after Facebook, I went back into doing more work with AWS.
So what's your job, or what do you do at AWS?
Yeah, I'm a technical evangelist, so I know that's a title that does different things depending on what company you're working for, what team you're working for. It's a very squishy title, but at AWS, one of the things that you may have noticed is that we have a lot of services.
Yes.
And this is great because it means that we have the right tool for the job, depending on whatever you want to do.
Or if you find it.
Yeah, or if you find it, exactly, right? So, I mean, depending on whether you're building, low-level, just barely above the metal infrastructure, whether you're building sophisticated networking solutions, whether you're building fleets of virtual machines, whether you're building pipelines, whatever you're doing, you can find the right tool that really makes your life kind of easy for a specific set of use cases. And we believe that that's really the way to go. We don't want to build a handful of services that do general things, but then they're not very good for any one particular person. So we want to make the right tool, we want to make that tool great for a set of users. But the flip side of that is we have a lot of services. I think at last counting we have, 180 services. We're constantly shipping new services, and all these services are constantly changing. So it's become impossible for anybody working at AWS to keep track of all the different services and all the different features that are constantly launching. And if it's impossible for somebody working at AWS, then it's impossible for somebody working outside of AWS. So we realized a couple years ago that we had to do something to provide the resources and the educational content and really kind of a friendly way to introduce people into the content, and then to take people from to beginner to intermediate to advanced all the way through. So we knew that was a big problem. We know we have the certification program, but we know that there's a lot more that needs to be done there. So that was the genesis of the evangelism team. We're not connected to any specific service, though we will find evangelists who are specialized in certain product areas, serverless.
So can I ask you anything about any of the 190?
So that's the thing. I mean, I'm a generalist, so technically you can ask me, but I'm not sure I'll have the answer. You can try it. I mean,
okay. What's the maximum payload size of an AWS Lambda function?
I don't know. What is it?
6 megabytes?
6 megabytes? Okay, that was higher than I thought. Okay, good question. Good answer too. I'm gonna look that up. I'm actually surprised that it's that high.
Please do.
Yeah. So I think I don't have one favorite, but I would pick on a couple. First off, AppSync. I mean, AppSync is GraphQL as a service, and it's hard for me not to like GraphQL as a service. What's really cool about AppSync is that if you're already operating in this kind of serverless model, AppSync is able to take all of your GraphQL resolvers and connect them with Lambda functions, so you can have serverless GraphQL, which is kind of awesome.
Yes.
I can't go without mentioning the utility services, the EC2, S3, DynamoDB. I mean, these services are just kind of workhorses, right? You use them in almost every project, and they do exactly what they need to do. They never break. They're super reliable, super easy to use. Once you get used to them, you can keep using those, and they're never going to go away, right? So those are always kind of just the mainstays. I think the some of the stuff that we just recently announced at the last reInvent, the quantum ledger database and the time series database, that kind of stuff is really interesting, and I can't wait for all of it to hit general availability. That way everybody can play with it and get more feedback. But I think we're going to see some really interesting stuff, especially time series databases, right? Because people try to overlay that on top of all sorts of different databases. They try to overlay it on top of flat files, and they always end up with trade-offs that shouldn't have to happen. But yet, building a real time series database, monitoring it, managing it, scaling it, it's really challenging.
Okay, thank you. I'm looking forward to the talk in some minutes, and I hope you too. All right. Thanks, Andy. Okay.